Have you ever noticed that sometimes diplomacy works and sometimes it doesn't? History is filled with leaders who believed that if they could just negotiate long enough, offer enough concessions, then peace would follow. Sometimes they were right, but sometimes they discovered too late that they had mistaken an enemy's tactics for a change of heart. And that may be one of the most important lessons of this week's parasha. In Parashat Chukat, the Jewish people are nearing the end of their 40-year journey through the wilderness. As they make their way toward the land of Israel, they encounter two neighboring nations, and in both cases, they pursue diplomacy first. The first is Edom. The Israelites send messengers to the king of Edom with a simple request. Allow us to pass through your land. We won't touch your fields, we won't drink your water, and we won't leave the main highway. All we want is safe passage. Edom refuses. Not only that, the Edomites mobilize a large military force and threaten Israel if it goes through their land. Faced with this rejection, the Israelites turn away and take a much longer and more difficult route around Edom. A few verses later, a remarkably similar story unfolds. This time, Israel sends messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, with virtually the same request. Again, they promise not to consume local resources. They ask only for passage. And again, the request is denied. But this time, the outcome is completely different. Sihon marches out to attack Israel, and Israel responds with force. The Amorites are defeated, and Israel conquers their territory. Why the difference? Perhaps the Torah is trying to teach an important lesson on the limits of diplomacy. On the one hand, diplomacy should always be our first choice. Before drawing a sword, we must extend a hand. But diplomacy has limits, and it has to do with intentions. Edom wanted separation, but Sihon wanted Israel's destruction. A nation can live alongside neighbors who wish to remain separate, but it cannot safely live alongside neighbors committed to its annihilation. And that lesson remains relevant today. As the U.S. has pursued negotiations with Iran, supporters argue that diplomacy offers the best path to stability. Critics worry that negotiations may create the illusion of peace while leaving intact the very ambitions that created the threat in the first place. Reasonable people can disagree, but Parashat Chukat teaches a timeless principle. The success of diplomacy depends not only on the sincerity of those seeking peace, but also on the intentions of those with whom we seek peace. The Torah therefore asks us to hold two truths at the same time. Never stop pursuing peace, but never lose the clarity to recognize when an adversary remains committed to conflict. Peace requires diplomacy, but lasting peace also requires realism, strength, and the courage to see the world as it is. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe for more Torah perspectives on Israel and current events.